my kids would say, Layla would say, I have three brothers. Okay, I have Ridwan, I have Asid and Tigger. Okay, these are my brothers. Okay, and so um, Guy came into play when Layla was taken, and first it was a different uh, teddy bear. Well, actually, a Cabbage Patch that Mom gave him, but some things happened to it, and Guy came into play. But it was really more so as a substitute for Layla that turned into a companion for himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so as he developed, as we developed a personality for him, uh, he just stuck, and like he just took to it. So Guy is definitely his safe guy. He would he would send Guy to me and tell me to like babysit him, like watch over him while he was at mom's or whatever, so that Guy isn't lonely. And so I would take Guy on adventures, right? I'd take Guy to work with me. I do laundry with Guy. I would take pictures of Guy doing laundry. I would have a little sign and put it on Guy, and Guy would be like just sitting there with the sign doing laundry, like, you know, Ridwan, we're doing laundry. Hey, Ridwan, we're at the store. Hey, Ridwan, we're going grocery shopping. We're at the car wash. Stuff like that. And I would send them to him so that he
Yeah.
could, see the adventures that Guy and I were having and stuff. So he would know that he wasn't, abandoned and stuff. You know, you take pictures of him beating me up while I was trying to sleep, and it looked like Guy was taking the picture. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I really appreciate the story behind Guy. I have always just kind of known Guy as the person who hangs out with us. So it's cool to hear some of the development of who that is. And
yeah,
like I said, he's got lots of strengths. The creativity's there, personality. He's got so much love, like in his heart. Just a great kid.
yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
How's Ridwan doing in school right now?
Perfect. Both kids are doing good in school. The
Good,
only
good.
Their academics are well, their behavior is well. The only thing that school, the only thing that could get better with school for both children is their attendance. Um, that's it. Mom, if the kids tell mom that they don't want to go to school, they don't have to go to school. Just like today. Uh, my son isn't at school just because he doesn't want to go today. So, other than that, that's it. As far as academics is concerned, the school loves the kids, counselor loves the kids, their teachers love the kids, their classmates love the kids, and Ridwan is a good kid.
Very nice. All right. All right. Medically, how's he doing? Is there anything we need to worry about with that?
I don't believe so. I haven't seen my son since September of
Okay.
last year. So, but there's no health issues that he
Gotcha.
has that has been medically documented uh, and or
Okay.
provided to me.
Yep. All right. All right. Okay, so it sounds like for just with how he's doing right now with school and from what you see in his behavior, doesn't sound like you have a whole lot of concerns. But is there anything else that you feel that should be addressed in therapy for Ridwan?
The only thing that Ridwan struggles with, both my kids only struggle with like one or two things. Um, Ridwan, what he struggles with is breaking away from those emotions. Ridwan will get trapped in his emotion. Like I said, my kids are like day and night. They're almost like polar opposites from each other. You know, um, Layla, you got to be firm and direct with. Ridwan, you only need to be firm and direct with him in the event that he breaks all the way down and he can't break free of his emotions, because his emotions will just take over. So if he's crying all over the place and he's just not able to answer a question because of his emotions taking a toll over him, that's the only time that you got to be straightforward and direct, but you got to just get him back on track, and then he'll just go. But what he needs to work on is really trying to keep that from happening. He'll let his issues kind of build up before he explodes, and it's really more of an internal explosion because, again, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. So he will just cry and try to communicate whatever it is that he's dealing with, but it's too late at that point because he just can't formulate what he needs to say. So getting him to slow down and instead of looking at it as it is, slow down, and having Layla look at her environment, Ridwan, you have to have him slow down and internally process his feelings so that he can accurately address whatever is in front of him, if that makes sense.
Too much. In other words, I've heard this saying before. Too much analysis could cause paralysis. Would that be maybe a little accurate? Or if I'm off, please let me know.
I'm sorry. Say that again. My daughter was calling me. Go ahead. Layla.
Yes.
Baby, I'm in a meeting right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Daddy. I did not.
Baby, what's going on? Just you are important. What is happening? What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Ridwan wants you to unlock his phone.
Okay. I'll unlock Ridwan's phone in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, Ridwan said, yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, baby.
I'm so sorry, Daddy. I did not mean to.
Baby, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys.
Okay, there you are.
I'm sorry. Layla called. So, yeah. Anyways, where were we?
I was just kind of formulating a little something in my head for Ridwan. Does it almost seem like he gets so caught up into his emotions he just kind of freezes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And for his emotional vocabulary, remind me, how old are you?
I'm 40. I'm 39. I'll be 40. Wait, I don't think you're asking me how old is Ridwan.
I forget. I don't have it.
He's 9. Yeah. I was like, I don't think you're asking me how old I am. Yeah, he's 9.
Okay. I'm thinking about most 8 and 9-year-olds, and I got quite a few of them on my caseload. I mean, they're still learning about their emotions, how to process through them. And so probably building his emotional vocabulary, I can imagine that's something he's really starting to, really do for himself. And I'm pretty sure Daniel's probably going to be going through a lot of how to build up the emotional vocabulary and, how to kind of process through his emotions a little bit, and kind of, I'm sure they'll be kind of going through some incidents that come up in therapy sessions.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully.
Okay. All right, George, any other strengths you can think of or anything else that you feel like we need to know for Ridwan when it comes to, working with him for his behavioral health?
Like I stated before, Ridwan, you can be his friend, right? Because that's literally all he wants in life, is for everybody to be his friend, okay? So if he believes that you are his friend, then he will innately just open up and just be friendly with you, and pretty much give you the shirt off of his back, because it looks like you're cold, right? So when dealing with him, just be calm, but specific, and he will just fall into how you are doing, right? How are you communicating? And you'll get far with him, if that makes sense.
Okay, good. No, makes good sense.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next part. Let me just go ahead and get a service plan. I'll go through that with you real quick, and we'll go ahead and make another CFT meeting for next month, and we can be done. Just give me a second to find it here. All right. Attention and concentration graduate for longer periods of time that are closer.
David.
I'm pulling it up.
David, come back.
David, come back.
I'm going.
You can give it all on me.
Okay, let's see.
The Zoom meeting can't go on without you.
And again, so it looks like he has a lot on here as well. And like I said, I think that we'll have to get to a point where we narrow it down, where we really need to see what's going on. And that's where we'll get a lot of the input from Daniel specifically, because he's working with him in that therapeutic setting. So, right. Okay, the first need: increase focus, attention, and concentration gradually for longer periods of time that are closer to age-appropriate expectations. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. No, I'm and that's what these CFTs are for. We want your input. We want to be able to see how we can kind of meet in the middle. So, okay, so then the objectives for that are caregiver aids in the creation and implementation of the behavioral intervention plan within the home that has been developed and instituted by the supportive team and staff. Increase length of time focusing and attending to routine activities. Be able to weigh options and make simple decisions within 5 minutes, and express understanding and demonstration utilization of thought-stopping and challenging techniques. So the need is the overall need, and then the objectives are the goals to meet the need.
Okay.
And so that's what that was. So then the next need, display ability to regulate and verbalize emotions in a controlled and age-appropriate manner.
Yeah.
Does that sound a little bit more along the lines of what you're saying? That seems like that aligns with the things that you have said. Okay,
yes,
then the objectives under that: gain knowledge of different emotions, learn at least 2 ways to manage frustration in a positive manner, demonstrate more frequent pro-social actions by learning empathy, but it sounds like you said, he already knows empathy really well.
Very well.
Client learn 5 to 10 coping skills to assist in emotional identification and regulation. Okay. That sounds like that kind of aligns with what you've said. And client will be able to utilize their coping skills to manage emotions in all environments. And then the last one there is recognize patterns of family conflict, discuss weekly in therapy.
Okay, yes. So yeah.
Those sound more appropriate, okay?
Yeah.
There's one more. I'm so sorry. There's one more set.
Oh, okay.
But it sounds like that really targets everything that you said. So
that's
maybe where we really need to focus. So then the last one is show more appropriate social skills and higher self-esteem, as identified increased numbers of peer interactions and positive participation in school activities. And this is done through exploring and resolving conflict with family members and same-aged peers, decrease the frequency of withdrawn and avoidant behaviors, avoid angry outbursts by walking away from stressful situations, be able to stick up for oneself assertively but not aggressively, and to identify barriers to family and clients such as physical health, economic status, community safety, time constraints, and stressful environment.
Okay, so with that one, is that the last one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that one, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you do. He says he owes me. You owe me lunch. I'm just kidding.
So with that one, yes and no.
Okay.
It's important to note that, like I stated before, Ridwan just wants to be your friend. Okay? And so Ridwan is not an aggressive boy in his nature. Okay? It takes him a very lot of an extreme amount in order for him to show aggression. Okay? Now, I have taught the children to walk away from certain problems. Okay? Ridwan in particular, he will walk away from a person versus walk away from a problem. Like, let's say, for an example, I bought him Legos, right? Like a Star Wars set. right? Like, and they're like 200 pieces, okay? So he'll organize what he needs to and he'll start building. And the paper will say, put this piece here. But when he sees it, he can't figure out how to maneuver it around to get that piece there. He's frustrated. He will get emotional about it, okay? But he will not walk away from that problem. He'll sit there and try his darndest to figure it out, okay? Until he comes to the realization he does not know how to complete this task, and then he'll ask for help, okay? Now let's say that's the same thing with a person. Now if it's with a person, the person is giving him a negative feeling, right? He's interacting with them. He doesn't like how they're interacting with him, just like the Lego. He doesn't get that. And then because he can't figure it out with the other individual, he'll walk away from that. Okay? So that is very important to note, that it's not that he avoids his issues. He's trying to diffuse conflict, but he'll diffuse it by just eliminating himself from the equation. Okay? So that's how he operates.
Wonderful. Thank you for that feedback. It really explains a lot, but I really appreciate you taking the time to go through that. I know we're kind of getting ready to wrap up, but George, I know that you were trying to reach out to me regarding therapy. You want to ask those questions now? How can I help you?
Okay, Melissa. So we're just going to get to the elephant in the room. I'm aware that I have not been able to talk to entities because I have been blocked. Okay. Have you been given the information from Devereaux?
What are you referring to?
Just like all their case notes, like everything that Devereaux has done. Of course not.
No.
Okay. So the reason why you have not been given that is because my ex doesn't want that to be sent over to you guys. Okay. I've been trying to pass this information to the entities that that are dealing with the children. My ex is trying to remove me from their life. This is just flat out. We're going through custody battle. She's trying to take the kids away. She's doing it in a very malicious act. Okay. And now that I'm fighting in a more aggressive way through the courts, she doesn't like that. So she's trying her best to block me from being able to communicate with even you guys, for instance. Devereaux, the therapy place that both children was at for about 2 years before you guys got word, we've already addressed everything that we're dealing with in this therapy session with the CFT. And Layla graduated, okay? And she graduated because she completed all the things that we're covering with Layla right now. And Ridwan was on the verge of graduating. And she decided that she would pull them from Devereaux. And she pulled them simply because Devereaux was not documenting the way that she wanted them to document. She wanted them to focus on me abusing the children and me harming them. Alexa, turn off. And me harming them, and there was no harm there. Nobody found anything that she was talking about. There was no risk. And so she forced them to give her a maintenance request. And that's how you guys came into play. And so she filed with you guys for a maintenance request. And now she's a full-blown client because her foot got in the door. And now you guys are starting from where Devereaux began, without knowing that they've already dealt with how to deal with stress, how to cope with things, breathing techniques, how to identify emotions. And the kids have already gone through this, okay? But because she is so antsy about making me out to be a bad guy, she's trying her best to put keep the kids into therapy until she gets some type of paperwork to show that something may be a problem so that she can file with the courts. Okay. This has been going on for 3.5 years now. Okay. Um, so, you know, I actually just now got access to Open Heart, um, and the reports, and I'm going through the reports, and I'm seeing it again. These are the same thing that that she did with Devereaux. The exact same thing. Dad is abusive. Dad doesn't have rights. He can't talk to you. Devereaux blocked me for 7 months before I got access because they just would not give me access. And then when they finally gave me access, they found out that they should have always given me access. And then they were able to see Layla do a transition from not being with me and how her personality changed when she found out that I had access to Devereaux. And then they were able to see when Layla was returned to me and the difference between the child day and night from when she does therapy with mom versus when they do therapy with dad. Then 6 months after that, Layla was graduated because they couldn't they couldn't see anything. There was nothing there. Ridwan the same way. Now, has mom talked to you about Ridwan's suicidal thoughts or anything like that?
She has not spoken to me specifically about it, but again, I'm not the therapist on the case. It might be in the assessment. I haven't read everything, but it might be there, so I can't say yes or no on that. I understand.
Daniel, has she mentioned suicidal thoughts with you?
Not that I can really recall, no.
I know that you just got informed about Layla, but have you reviewed that Layla has suicidal thoughts?
That I did know.
Okay. Okay. So, in regards to Layla having suicidal thoughts, Layla does not have suicidal thoughts. Okay. Mom makes very wild accusations about what the children are experiencing when they're under her care. And then when they tell a therapist, the therapist addresses it and they find no risk. They question the children, they do risk assessments, I believe that's what it's called, and they find out that there's nothing there. As far as Layla is concerned, Ridwan, on the other hand, was a little different. During the time that Layla was taken, mom would ask me, well, she would tell me that Ridwan needs therapy, but she wouldn't tell me what he needed therapy for. She would just say, your son needs therapy. And I would ask, why does he need therapy? And she wouldn't respond. Eventually, Ridwan blew up one day and I got a phone call. And that's when I was told by my son that he wants to kill himself. And this is the same loving boy that we just got done discussing. That same incident, mom gave him a knife. This in a nutshell, there was an argument that mom and Ridwan had. Ridwan goes to his room. He slams the door. Mom comes in the room and she tells him if he slams the door, she's going to take the hinges off. He says he doesn't care. Mom says, I'm going to take your toys then. Ridwan says, I don't care. I want to kill myself. She then tells Layla to go get a knife. Layla says no. Layla fights mom. Layla is forced to get a knife. Layla brings the knife to mom. Mom then gives the knife to Ridwan. Ridwan takes the knife and he throws it on the floor. I get the phone call. Ridwan's crying, screaming, very sad, and he's trying to explain to me what had just happened, but I can't make out what he's trying to discuss. So we spent a good chunk of time on the phone before he ends up telling me the story that I just told you. And mom is in the background, yelling, screaming, cussing at him. And, you know, I'm trying to defuse a situation where my son just said that he wants to kill himself, and mom is not helping very well. Now, you may ask, why did I not report this? And the answer to that question is because at the time, we were still going through custody with Layla, and I had a restraining order placed against me for disciplining Layla. My attorney told me that if I file to have them remove the children, remove Redwan because of the incident, they're going to remove both children. And if they remove both children, Redwan will come to me, but Layla will go into foster care until this matter is resolved. And I couldn't bring myself to actually go through with that. So that's what happened. Now that I am beyond fed up with all of this stuff that she's doing, even now, she canceled services for Layla on December 1st, and then she has been in communication with you guys. And just so you know, I don't have communication with her. I haven't talked to this woman in over a year and a half, you know. So there's no communication. I don't see her. We don't email. We don't talk. None of that. And this is before the restraining order was in place. She then goes to a different facility because essentially Open Heart is not documenting properly that I'm a monster. And whatever facility, Mind 24/7, gave her something on one session that they just had, that all of my daughter's problems is due to the fact that she has come home. And now I have a court hearing due to that. And my rights have been suspended over my daughter because of that. When we rewind further to the incident with my daughter in 2020, the police were involved, DCS were involved. They closed the case. There was nothing there for them to see, but yet the restraining order was already in place because she filed for it before the cases were closed. And because the cases were closed, they have nothing to do with the restraining order, so she just let the restraining order stand. This is the same way with my son. DCS has closed the case, the police have closed the case, but yet the restraining order is independent, and she's refusing to acknowledge the fact that everybody, all the professionals, are saying that there's nothing to see here. And she's constantly putting the kids back in therapy, and it's damaging the children. Therapy is good, but my daughter, if you just ask her, why do you think you need therapy? She's going to tell you that she doesn't know because she already did it. And she's right. Okay. But because you are now involved, I want to be very transparent with you guys and share all the information that I have about my children with you. Okay. So this is the first time that both children has had the same therapist. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal in full transparency. However, this, as you know, is a very sticky situation. So at this point, less people involved, I think, the better. And so the plan with Daniel is he and I are going to meet regularly to ensure that there's full objectivity in both of their sessions, and that Layla does not talk about Redwan and Redwan does not talk about Layla.
What do you mean that they don't talk about each other?
Because he's saying both of them in order to do their best to provide that objectivity, to make sure that he isn't letting what Layla says go into his session with Redwan, and to, again, really trying to ensure the best.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm glad you asked, and I'm glad I was able to clarify. We just don't want Daniel to go into a session with Redwan knowing about something Layla may have said and causing any kind of conflict. So we're working really hard for
I'm not going to go in and be like, hey, Radwan said this about you. So
Yeah.
let's address it.
Yeah.
Because that would be the exact opposite of productivity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in full transparency, we have therapists, but Daniel's just the best. If I'm being completely honest with you, I just, I've really brainstormed this, and I've talked to Daniel about it, and it's just, he makes the most sense for both of them because he's geared more towards kind of younger teens, the older kiddos, younger teens, and that's really where his strengths lie. And so, in full transparency, I know that they're polar opposites based on what you just said, and Daniel is just great about all of that. So less people involved is kind of what we're trying to do.
I understand. And that is actually a very smart thing to do, because...
Okay, I'm glad you agree. That makes sense.
I agree. Because of my ex-wife's history, the more people that are involved, the more chaotic it's going to be. So with that being said, I know that she has told you negative things about myself, okay? And this is, like I said, this does not get easier as it goes on. This is not my first time having to defend myself. I've been defending myself for only the last 3 years, and we've been divorced for nearly 8. So before that time frame, we had the best co-parenting relationship. We would meet up for coffee. I would pick her up and we would go to the kids' games, When we were divorced, the first year I had the kids 70% of the time. The second year, I had the kids 80% of the time. The third year, I had the kids about 60, 70% of the time. The fourth year, that's when we're getting close to around 50% of the time. But I still had them more because she called off on her duties. And then the only reason why she has caught up with me is due to the restraining orders. So my point is that you can clearly see before the restraining orders were in place, I was the primary parent. Okay. Now that the restraining order is in place, that's the only reason why you have 50-50. Now, I can't undo what she has already told you and stuff like that. I mean, she even spoke ill of my family in the notations of family history. She doesn't know my family. Well, she doesn't have a relationship with my family. She knows of them, So for her to give that type of call on what my family dynamics are, my mom, my grandparents, their history, she has no clue. So that's not fair. However, I am going to share with you, Daniel, or I would like to share with you the videos of my children in the last year and a half on how I parent with them. And so you can see how they respond, operate, and how the family dynamics are so that it can make your understanding of my children a lot more easier as you go forward in being their therapist.
So with that, I would just prefer if Daniel can kind of build that rapport with them first before we start pulling things like that in, and really let him get to know them just on their own level before we start pulling that kind of stuff in. I think, kind of like you said, as you can read the notes, the reports, the kids are getting lost in the middle of all this.
They are getting lost in the middle.
And I really want to switch it back up and to just focus on them, and that's why CFTs are strengths and concerns based on kids and their needs. And so I don't know about Deborah, I don't know about the other places, but I can tell you about us, and I can tell you that our focus is the kids, and we deal with several custody situations similar to this one, and it's this person said this person said, and that's fine, and we want to hear everything you have to say, but I want you to know that Layla and Radwan are our number one concern, and that is where the focus is going to lay.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, I was just going to say, I want you to kind of know that when we have like CFT meetings, you're kind of you're not on trial,
No, I know.
And No, I like to know both sides, but I guess videos and like I don't necessarily need that. I believe, the parents when they talk to me. I want both sides. I don't want only one side of a story. But when it comes down to me meeting with your kids, it's like I'm treating the person who's in front of me, not what the court says, not what either parent says. I'm treating the person who's in front of me and what they feel like is going on in their life. So I don't let a whole lot of outside influence, dictate what we do in sessions, other than like getting an idea of what could be affecting them. But I treat the person in front of me, not kind of one side or the other, because I'm not here to be on anyone's side. I'm here just to make sure they're getting good care.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I don't want you guys to, like I said, this is the third time, and I'm not trying to get you guys to side with me. Okay, your job is to take care of my kids, right? That's really where it is. However, I know what my kids' problems are, and you're learning what my kids' problems are, okay? And the problem is that my kids are running out of time, right? Like my kids are going to be kids for the shortest period of time in their life. And then after that, it's a wrap, okay? And, my kids' primary problem is that mom and dad doesn't get along. That is their primary problem, okay? Before mom and dad didn't get along, the kids were freaking beautiful. They weren't angels, I'll tell you that. They were far from angels. But the dynamics of mom and dad's relationship allowed the kids to flourish and just skyrocket. Now that mom and dad are not friendly, the kids see that, right? It's now impossible to hide the information from the kids. We can hide some, but we definitely can't hide it all, right? And so their primary problem, right? You can work on breathing techniques, but it's going to be breathing techniques when they feel that they're not loved because mom and dad are, duking it out, so to speak, and they're being neglected. I'm reading the reports and I'm like, wow, this isn't even about Layla anymore. This is all about me moving forward. Okay. So, and Layla feels that. And we need to stop that, because the elephant in the room, everybody knows it. And we just need to tackle it as quickly as possible so that the kids can get back on track, so that they can be better people and better individuals for themselves and each other. Okay. And, I don't believe that my ex-wife feels the same way about the matter, but that's nor here nor there. The problem is that the kids feel that way, and the kids' situation that they're going through is stemming from the fact that mom and dad can't get along, right? They can't agree. Okay. So, yeah, but the things that I'm sharing or wish to share are directly the issues that even mom said that the kids are having. Okay. Ridwan is having a hard time controlling his emotions. That's the video. This is a clear cut of what he does when he cannot control his emotions. Okay. This is how he speaks when he can't control his emotions. This is what's needed to be done to get his emotions back in line so that he can communicate effectively, so that he can get some type of resolve.